Our prayer of the week is taken from Psalm chapter 32. What we titled, "The Joy of Being Forgiven." It's a song that teaches us key things. The first, repressed guilt becomes an unbearable burden. The second, confession and forgiveness brings joy and peace of heart. Every Christian who knows God and walks in the footsteps of the Savior Jesus Christ, it's déjà vu when faced with a dilemma during a sin. Repress guilt or confess it. Every time we cannot free our consciousness from a burden. The days and nights are long and heavy. However, when we recognize ourselves at fault and confess our sin, we find a joy and a peace to welcome. If God wanted only the faults of life. From David U. The vicissitudes of David's life are reported to us in the Holy Scriptures. It's that there is a goal. Let's take an example of his sin of adultery with Bathsheba, and the murder of her husband which are followed, which we can read in 2 Samuel chapters 11 and 12. This is to show us that he is a loving, compassionate and merciful God, provided that our turn we recognize ourselves at fault and confess our sin to him in order to receive forgiveness. Want to reconcile ourselves and renew our communion with him? This Psalm chapter 32 must be associated with Psalm chapter 51 and is part of Epsom's most instructive penances. These two Psalms 51 and Psalm chapter 31, contain essential teachings about confession and forgiveness. This is far from the prospects and constitutes for all authentic Christians a support of inestimable value for their confessional approach. Let's try to summarize. Psalm chapter 32, which we titled "The Joy of Being Forgiven," or simply "The Happiness of Forgiveness." This psalm, attributed to David, is a meditation on the joy of God's forgiveness and on God's mercy towards those who humbly recognize their faults. The psalmist speaks to you. The psalmist, how we speak, proclaims, "Blessed the man whose fault is forgiven and whose sin is blotted out." He then recounts his personal experience. As long as they keep silent, they refuse to admit their fault. He is consumed internally, of course, and loses his peace. But as soon as he confessed his sin to God, he received forgiveness and found joy again.